Hello, sixth graders. Welcome to sixth grade math surface area of prisms lesson. Pause while you write the lesson title in your math notebook. Pause again while you write today's lesson objective in your math notebook. Today's objective is, I can use nets to represent prisms and find the surface area of prisms by completing practice problems with 100% accuracy in multiple attempts. Our objective for today is solve real-world problems by finding surface area for three-dimensional figures using nets with fractional edges. We're going to start with some vocabulary review and a key idea. So it says the surface area of a solid is the sum of all of the areas of its faces. You can use a two-dimensional representation of a solid called a net to find the surface area of the solid. Surface area is measured in square units because it's area, so it gets measured in square units. So our key idea says net of a rectangular prism. So what we talked about just a second ago is that the net is a two-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional figure. So it's as if you have a box and you're flattening it out. So a net of a rectangular prism is a prism with rectangular bases. So the example that you're shown gives you a rectangular prism, and it just shows you how, if it were a box in real life, how you would unfold that and flatten it out, and it shows you all the different pieces of that. So be sure that this important key idea makes it into your notebook. Now let's take a look at example 1. We are finding the surface area of a rectangular prism. So our directions, it's asking us to find the surface area of the rectangular prism that is shown here. And it says use a net to find the area of each face. So shows a net, so it shows the flattened out version. So whenever you have a rectangular prism, when you draw your net, you should have 6 sections on your net. You should have a top and a bottom. You should have two sides and a back and a front. And because a rectangular prism has 6 sides. So when we look at the top and the bottom, if you look on the original picture, you can see that on the top and the bottom, the length is 7 inches and the width is 4 inches. So that's a 7 by 4 rectangle. So our step 1 is to find the area of the top. And so we multiply 7 times 4 and we get 28. And so you're going to put that as your step 1. Step 2 is the area of the bottom, and it's identical. It's 7 times 4 as well. And that equals 28. And then we're going to take a look at the front and the back. So the front of this box, or this prism, is 7 inches by 3 inches. So 7 times 3 is 21. So the front is 21 square inches. And the back is 21 square inches. So steps 3 and 4 are finding the area of the front and the area of the back, and they are both multiplying 7 times 3, which equals 21. And then all that's left is the sides. So the sides are 3 inches by 4 inches. So 3 times 4 is 12, or 4 times 3, which is the way the book put it, which is fine. And so that's 12 square inches. So steps 5 and 6 are each finding the area of a side, so 12 and 12. And then to find our answer, we add all of those up and we get 122 square inches for our answer. Next, we have another key idea, the net of a triangular prism. A triangular prism is a prism with triangular bases. And so just like we did with a rectangular prism, we imagine that this is a box and we unfold that box and flatten it out. So there's a picture of that for you. Be sure that the picture and the definition make it into your notes. And there's also a reminder on the side that asks you to remember that the area of a triangle with a base B and a height H is area equals 1/2 base times height. And that will help you as you're figuring out surface area. So be sure all of this makes it into your notebook so that you can remember it. Example 2, we're finding the surface area of a triangular prism. So we need to use a net to find the area of each face. So on a triangular prism, we are generally going to have 5 sections on our net instead of 6, because we've got a triangle instead of a rectangle. So just like we did with our rectangular prism, we are going to separate out by each side and take each side separately as a net, each face. So let's start with the bottom. So the bottom is step 1, and the area of the bottom is 12 by 8. So 12 times 8 is 96. And then the area of the front, we use our area of a triangle formula to figure that out. So the triangle on the front, you can see the base of it is 12 and the height is 5. So that's 12 times 5. And then we have that multiplied by 1/2. So 12 times 5 is 60, divided by 2 is 30. So step 2 is figuring out the area of the front. Step 3 is the area of the back, which is also 30. So those are both 30. And then we're going to choose a side to go next, and the authors of the book chose the blue side here, the larger side, and that is 13 centimeters long, and it is 8 centimeters wide. So you can see that one side is 13, and then you can see the 8 way down here, and if that side is 8, then it also has to be 8 on this edge here. So 13 times 8 is 104, so that's step 4. And then we have this one last little side here, and that's 8 by 5, which is 40. So that's step 5. And then step 6 is to add them all up, and we get 300. So our answer is that the surface area is 300 square centimeters. Remember, to complete this lesson, you need to be sure your notes are complete in your ISN, complete your Google form questions, review the lesson if you need to, do your Big Ideas math assignment in your Math Spiral notebook, and submit that when it is 100% correct and not before, and be sure to track your progress on your playlist.